I read a poem that belongs to a sequence about La Maddalena and Santo Stefano, two small islands off the coast of the bigger island of Sardinia. Like I said, the archipelago of La Maddalena lies between North Sardinia and Corsica. Just a few words about living in an island. Living in an island means being protected, but also being exposed, exactly as the poetry is, exposed to winds. I think the wind is a sort of master, maestro, that teaches us that we are nothing, that we can be blown away at any moment. I think it is a lesson for the ego, for the vanitas. So this poem is about Santo Stefano. Settembre 2011, arcipelago della Maddalena, isola di Santo Stefano. Questa piccola isola, forata sott'acqua dai sommergibili americani, dove mio bisnonno piantò viti e agrumi, costruì stalle e portò 10 vacche dal continente. I loro zoccoli tremanti sulla barca, il vento sui dorsi, colpiti fino allora solo dalle piogge del nord. Sono ancora lì, le corna miste a sabbia, gli scheletri profondi, stretti agli scogli, senza più paura, senza più distinzione tra i pascoli e il mare.
As Antonella said, this is part of a sequence of poems about the archipelago of Maddalena, and each one is prefaced by a date or a month. In this case, September 2001, Maddalena Archipelago, the island of Santo Stefano. This small island, riven underwater by US submarines, where my great-grandfather planted citrus fruits and vines, built cowsheds and brought 10 cows from the mainland. Their trembling hooves on the boat, the wind on their backs, only struck till then by rain from the north. They're still there, horns mingled with the sand, deep-rooted skeletons close up to the rocks, no longer afraid, no longer distinguishing pasture from sea.
Thank you. Yes, I'm going to read a poem in Logudorese. Logudorese is a language, not a dialect, which is, you will hear the sounds, which is closer to Latin and Catalan. Limba is the word for language in Sardinia. I started to write in Logudorese after a loss.
After?
A loss.
Ah.
Suddenly I had the sensation that Italian words were missing, and at a certain time the sounds that arose in my memory were these harsh ones of a prescholastic language, thick with consonants and shorn of adjectives. I think I understood my own Italian in the light of those sounds. Maybe I could say that I write in a foreign language which I lose and rediscover at each new occasion. I don't know if I I write other poems in Logudorese, but maybe this experience has involved a sort of descent in una lingua non bassa ma profonda, a language not low or vernacular but deep, as Luigi Meneghello put it.
Scaurus, in the main character of the poem, in 54 BC, was proconsul in Sardinia. He was accused of extortion and of being the cause of the suicide of a woman he had raped. The Sards came to Rome to testify against him, but Scaurus had Cicero as his defense lawyer, who poured scorn on these unkempt figures covered with animal skins, bewildered among the columns of the refined tribunal. Although guilty, Scaurus was absolved. The original title of the poem was Name, but you've now called it Contra Scauro. I've stuck with Name. One little thing I ought to say about the translation is that obviously Cicerone, which is the name for Cicero in Italian, also means a guide. Cicerone, we have that, so I could have kept it in, but Cicerone is so specific and it doesn't have the same sound as Cicero for us, so I've rather changed it about here, so we've got a kind of lizard-like figure instead of a guide. Anyway, if you can forget that. Okay.
Nome. Non isco a scrivere de Roma, me da Belluria, de Hidu, mudas Elinum, forzi goi sunt binti seculus, pessa intercuddo sardos, venitos a dimandare justitia contra Scauro. Zente geneite, terra ue peri sumele est hele. Goi, nariat Cicero li feidu suo. Ora in mesu petras, bortat suo lumene, lestru, minutu, ma sicutera morinte sos dinsimonsos, sape tribulat, recet sumele, limba elidone, gardu et sale.
Name. How can I write of Rome in 1 or 7 days? A glut of beauty, taste, and linen tunics. Maybe those Sards 20 centuries ago felt this when they came to plead for justice against Scaurus. A truthless people, land where even the honey is gall, Cicero said in his oration. But his name now, tiny and rapid, flits among the stones, and just as then witnesses die, the bee labours on, honey endures, a tongue of salt, arbutus, thistle.
I like thistle.
Thistle's good.
Thistle, yeah, it's good. This is from a book, The Catalogue of Joy.
The Catalogue of Joy.
The Catalogue of Joy. I can say that is. I would like to write something about not exactly the felicity, the happiness, but that particular joy, a sort of truth that we have during our life.
Un momento, c'è un ragno. Di qua.
Don't kill him.
No, I won't. No.
So,
it's a spider.
A spider, yes. It's a good luck.
No, I wouldn't have killed a spider. They're my friends.
Okay,
they're my only friends.
Yeah. Me too. And I was, and the idea, and another idea of this book, was about the Sefer, the alphabet of the Talmud.
The Talmudic alphabet, yeah.
The Talmudic alphabet, because I was trying to build a sort of architecture of each letter, So, for example, about the F of happiness. This is the problem in you use felicity.
Oh, well, we
Felicity.
I had to go Latinate on that one because
felicity.
felicità would perhaps more normally translate as happiness, but we do also have the rather pompous felicity, which I've used.
Yeah, it's a bit pompous.
No, that's what happens a bit with English, is shift over.
But my problem is about this poem that there is a very famous song in Italy.
Which is called what?
Felicità.
Felicità.
And it was very easy music. Felicità.
And you think the poem might be getting a bit perilously close to that? I think you're spared that with the English audience, so I think we can. You don't have to excuse it.
So F, like the wind. F è la lettera della felicità terrena, del soffio che fugge dalle labbra, è la fiducia dei fiori che si flettono quando scende il sole, ma è anche la lettera del fulmine, della fiamma che fende il buio. Fa freddo, diciamo, e la F raddoppia nello stesso fiato che nutre il fuoco.
F is the letter of felicity, of earthly joys, of the breath's flight from the lips. It's fading. It's the faith of flowers that fold when the sun sets, but it's also the letter of the lightning flash, of the flame that flickering cleaves the dark. It's freezing, we say, and the F doubles in the same breath that feeds the fire. Allora, l'ultima. Should we just read the poem and I'll say something about what I've done to it?
No, it's a love poem, a rather love poem. And it's about names.
It has the epigraph from the Thomas Hardy poem, the Thomas Hardy poem, During Wind and Rain, the great poem. The epigraph is the years, down their carved names the raindrop plows.
Non riesco a sentirti. Sta passando un camion carico di ferro. Ogni parola spenta dalle sbarre di ferro. Ogni nome folgorato dal clangore del ferro. Lucido e nero di pioggia, senza passato o futuro. Il desiderio non è più l'affamato che guarda dalla finestra la casa illuminata. This image comes from Baudelaire, this image.
Oh, right. One of the things that I've done with this poem is that the original is a prose poem, and normally I would respect the form, but for some reason I found it fitting into lines better, and Antonella gave me permission to do so. Anyway, I'll just read it. The years, down their carved names the raindrop plows. I can't hear you. A lorry laden with iron is trundling past, and every word's drowned out by the iron bars, every name erased by the foundry thunder and clangour of iron, shiny and black under a rain without past, without future. Desires no longer the hungry creature who peers through glass at the palace of light. Finished. I think when I started translating Antonella's work, actually it was for a commission in London about 20 years ago, but out of all the poets I was translating, it was the one that struck me most. And it was the early work then was actually seemed to be set in a wintry St. Petersburg, which seemed very uncharacteristic for a young Italian poet to be writing. I was very drawn to the kind of, the sense of connection with those Acmeist poets like Mandelstam, Akhmatova, and possibly Tsvetaeva, which seemed uncharacteristic. This is just one aspect of it, but I just found the tone of voice utterly convincing. And I think that's sense of the areas of concern of the poetry and this unmistakable tone of voice, which is at once musical but also kind of resists the music. I think it puts obstacles in the way of what might be a kind of a sense of bel canto in the Italian.
Because I'm from Sardinia, of course.
Oh, she's a Sardinian, it doesn't count. Well, actually, and I think in a strange way, when Antonella started writing in Logororesi, it didn't come as a surprise, because in some senses the poems I noticed would, first of all, break with line, lineage, if you like, but they'd also break from prose into poetry and back again, reconstitute the line. They'd literally break with the line. But then, in a way, it seemed like a logical step to break with the language, with Italian. I mean, not as a permanent state, I'm presuming, but just to use something as another language, a counterweight to Italian. Those are some of the aspects that drew me. I mean, there are many other elements that I like in the individual poems, but